Now, but the thing with women is you all go into the bathroom for like 20 minutes and you close the door and then you come out and the last thing you do is you're rubbing something here and then you go like this and then you get into bed and you tell me what I've done wrong that day. And that's your little nighttime routine. Now, I don't know what goes on in that room, but I assume, I can't be positive, but I assume you are covering your body head to toe in some type of lotion that you think is vital for your existence. Now, I'm 42 years old. I wear makeup for work, like when I'm on TV, they put makeup on me. I never even wipe it off. They give me a towelette and I go, don't worry about it. And then it goes away over a week and they put it back on. Apart from that, I've worn sunscreen, but I've never put anything else on my face, nothing else my entire life. I'm arguably an alcoholic. I used to be a heavy smoker. I've been a cocaine addict. And my skin is flawless.
A little bit of comedian Jim Jefferies right there, and he wants to give you what you want. The comedian is coming to Montreal later this month. First show at Theatre Saint-Denis, part of his Give 'Em What They Want tour, and he's on the line right now. Jim, welcome to the show.
Hello, mate. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you. I've been the biggest fan of yours forever. And last night, found out last night I was going to be interviewing you. I immediately go to Twitter and look you up on Twitter, and I realize you haven't tweeted since last November. And I'm like, oh, did you leave Twitter because of Elon? Is that why did you ditch Twitter?
Well, I don't think I even tweeted the tweets from last November. I don't think I've tweeted in years. Someone else does that for me. I go on Instagram a little bit, and I do a little bit of Facebook, and I do a little bit of this and that, but I try to keep my social media to a minimum. Is it because of Elon? Not really. I think now that it's changed to X, I might get back on there. It seems more dangerous and edgy now.
How important is that, dangerous and edgy, especially now in comedy? Because I feel, and we have the Just for Laughs Festival here. It comes every year. And I feel there are some comedians that are worried about being dangerous and edgy, and there are others that are like, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. How do you view that when it comes to...
Well, I did go through a phase where I thought, oh, well, the world's changing. I got to change with it. I got to watch what I say and all that type of stuff. And then I got to a bit of an effort moment, and I've just decided, look, if I'm going to be cancelled, there's so much stuff of me that I've already said that I might as well just go for it. I might like if I'm going to be done for littering, I might as well just dump a whole lot of stuff in the park, and then if they come after me, I just go, which bit are you upset about? I also feel like now, if you do that as well, if you're constantly tongue in cheek saying offensive things, I think people know for the most part you don't mean it. I like to give credit to society and let them. I like to give credit to society that they actually know I'm joking, but maybe they don't. Who knows?
And Jim, part of the reason why I became such a big fan of yours was the stuff that you were doing on guns and the stuff you were doing on religion. And if you can tackle those subjects in the United States and you're still standing, I guess it means you can tackle whatever you want.
Well, I appreciate that. When you say still standing, it's a lot of people get very angry with you, but I do think the secret to good comedy is being diversive. You know what I mean? Like you want to have a small portion of the audience angry with you at all times. It makes the room feel a little bit more electric, I think. Anyway. As for the gun control stuff, people always ask me about the gun control stuff and ask me to do that routine, and I haven't watched it since I actually performed it. It's just something that I did. Now I can't remember it, but I do remember how I wrote it. I wrote it because I was with John Ratzenberg on set, who's Cliff Clavin from Cheers.
Yes.
And I was with him when one of the massacres happened, and he turned to me and he's a big gun guy, and he turned to me and he said, none of this would have happened if those teachers had guns there, Jimmy. And I argued with him for about 2 or 3 days, and at the end of it, the whole routine was written. So I got to thank John for that one.
And given your take on guns and religion, I always laugh when because you live in the States now, right? You're an American boy. You're a Dodgers fan, for crying out loud, right? So
I'm a Dodgers fan. I live in Los Angeles. Yeah, I'm an American fella. Yep.
But do you ever say with your views, particularly on religion, do you ever laugh that of all places, of all of the Western world nations you can live in, you've chosen America, the U.S.?
Well, I think that's part of the appeal, isn't it? If I do these religious routines in Britain or Australia, which is godless places, where lots of the population is atheist and no one really cares about religion. They don't care whether you are religious or you're not religious. It's not a real big thing. We've had prime ministers in Australia who have been openly atheists. You could never have that in America. Someone who says, I don't believe in God, but I'd like to run the place. That would just never happen, or at least not yet. So I think that part of the appeal is wherever you've got a culture, there's always a counterculture, and that counterculture gets more worked up by the other people telling them what to do. So I think that this is the place I'm meant to live in if I want to talk about religion. Otherwise, it wouldn't have any impact anywhere else.
It's so interesting, Jim, because like here in Quebec, if the premier of Quebec were to say, or someone running to lead Quebec were to say, I'm a devout Catholic, or you name the religion, they would lose. They wouldn't get a vote. I mean, it's so interesting how
it's funny, isn't it? They would go the other way. They'd go, I don't want that person. That person seems to be believing in fantasy. You go, I wouldn't want to have that person in charge. But every American has to finish their speech with, and God bless America. Otherwise, they're not patriotic or something. It's a very weird thing with them and God, how they go on about it.
Jim, how do you figure out, when to move on to because you can hammer on guns, you can hammer on religion, that kind of thing. Then eventually every comedian has to move on. How do you make those decisions? Like, and how does living in America shape where you go?
Well, what I do is I over a year and a half, I have one routine, and then as the time goes on, I write a joke, take out a joke, write a joke, take out a joke. You got to be happy to retire a routine, or you'll never progress. There's a lot of comics back in the day who just stayed to their 1 hour routine that they had, and they did that routine over and over and over again. But now the audiences are a lot more savvy with you. So if you've got a great routine, the most respect you can give that routine is to retire it. To actually say, it's done now. I'm not going to keep flogging this dead horse. I'm going to move on to something else. It might be sad. It might be something that kills on stage that you want to keep saying. But as soon as you're retired, it makes you creative again. So you want to write something just as good. At the moment, I'm not doing any stuff on religion in my current show. I've got, a new kid at home. We've just come out of COVID. I've had a little bit of tragedy in my life. I've had a little bit of happiness in my life, and I want to talk about those things,
And stoned koalas, Jim, right? How the heck does that come up?
Well, I'm California sober myself. I haven't had a drink in a few years now, and I partake in the marijuana, which is legal across Canada, thank God. And while it is, I'll keep touring your fine country.
Awesome. Jim, listen, your show is September 20th at Théâtre Saint-Denis here in Montreal. And you're touring all of Canada?
I'm in Thunder Bay as we talk right now. And then I believe I'm in Hamilton the next couple of days. And I'm going everywhere. I tour Canada at least once every 2 years, and I'm doing a big chunk of them at the moment. Couldn't be happier. Because normally they send me to Canada in the middle of winter because people buy more tickets because you've got less things to do. But I'm actually enjoying your country while it's still in its prime, you know, so I'm loving it.
I hope the Thunder Bay scene is treating you well, Jim. and
Me and Thunder Bay, we're down, man. I went to a great house party last time I was here. Nothing wrong with Thunder Bay.
Jim, take care. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
No worries. I appreciate it, mate.
That is comedian Jim Jefferies. The show at Théâtre Saint-Denis, part of the Give 'Em What They Want tour, comes this way in Montreal on September 20th.